Teeka was excited and a little afraid. This year, Santa had asked her to get the reindeer ready to fly on Christmas Eve. Teeka had never done this before, and she wanted everything to be perfect. Teeka lived up in the Arctic Circle, in the shadow of Santa's winter farm. The last of the snow geese had flown south, and everyone's mind was on Christmas. The workshop was alive with the sounds of saws sawing, hammers hammering, and brushes painting as they all worked to have the toys and presents ready for delivery on Christmas Eve. Elves? Can I hear hammers hammering, saws sawing, and brushes painting? Teeka knew it was time for her to go in search of the reindeer. They had been out on the tundra, wild and free, since last Christmas, and Teeka was sure they wouldn't want to go back to Winter Farm to train. She would have to be strong and firm. At last, she found them. Bramble, heather, windswept, lichen, snowball, crag, twilight, and tundra. I don't know if I'm gonna have enough room to turn. So the red chairs need to scoot back a tiny bit. Sorry. Scoot back a tiny bit. I'll make it work. All right, Teeka, ready? Teeka took a deep breath and shouted out,
"Let's go! Move! Move!"
The reindeer were bewildered by Teeka's voice. Their heads went up to see who this loud creature was. But they let her herd them together, and they headed back toward Winter Farm. But tundra gave her the most trouble. Teeka didn't know that he considered himself the leader. He liked to stay next to Twilight, but she was separated from him and running near the front. When they got to the barn, Teeka put them in different stalls. Tundra snorted impatiently. By the next morning, when Teeka went into the barn, all the reindeer were restless and upset. Restless and upset. Lichen was frightened of Crag, who kept nipping at him. Bramble was so worried, she drove Heather wild, and Twilight kept calling out to Tundra, who was just plain angry, stomping his hooves. Stomp. Then Teeka groomed each reindeer. She wanted them to look sleek and glossy for Santa. One by one, she brushed and combed their coats and pushed and pulled at their tangled manes. She brushed so long and so hard that her ears started to turn pink. Teeka took the reindeer outside. she was ready for the real training to begin. Snowflakes danced in the air as she tried to stand them in 2 lines and put their harnesses on. But they wouldn't stay lined up. She had put Tundra at the back with Heather instead of at the front with Twilight. Teeka scolded the reindeer.
Don't move!
But they all ran off wild-eyed. And she had to go after them and bring them back. You're going to be in the barn. Remember, this way. The next day, Teeka harnessed the reindeer in the barn before taking them out into the snow. Everything went right until she got them lined up outside and tried to steer them. So have them lined up outside. Get the others. Here's Teeka. Everything went right until she got them lined up outside and she tried to steer them. First to the left and then to the right. And she tried to get their harnesses on. To make the sleigh fly, they would need to pull together smoothly. But everything went wrong. Tundra crashed into Heather. Snowball crashed into Windswept. And Twilight and Lichen locked antlers.
Stop! Unhook!
Teeka shouted as they tried to free their long antlers. Then Lichen and Crag fell over into the snow. The harder they pulled, the more their antlers locked. The reindeer were frantic, and Teeka only made it worse by yelling at them. Tundra and Heather rushed to help, but the antlers did not break free. Teeka wailed.
Oh, please, it's almost Christmas Eve.
But the reindeer could not move. A frosty silence hung in the air. Teeka looked at the tangled up reindeer, one so bold and free, and she began to cry.
It's my fault. I spent all my time yelling at you guys instead of helping. I'm sorry.
And one by one, she gave each reindeer a hug.
Tomorrow we'll go to work in a new way. No yelling, no screaming, no bossing. I promise. Let me try to help you get free.
The reindeer listened to her new voice. Their eyes sparkled. It cracked a reindeer grin, and then Tundra laughed. The more they laughed, the more they shook. As they shook, their antlers rattled and rubbed. And before Teeka could do anything, she heard a spring, spring, spring. feathers jiggling free. The next day, the reindeer lined up in 2 lines, ready for the harness. They practiced turning left and they practiced turning right. Teeka directed them softly. Tundra pulled twilight and bramble was gentle to lichen. Windswept helped heather and snowball nestled against crag. Together they practiced long and hard. They didn't notice that it was getting dark. And they almost didn't hear a jingle in the distance. It was Santa standing by the sleigh, piled high with presents and ready to go. Now the reindeer were ready. Teeka led them to the sleigh. Santa's Santa smiled and nodded through thips. Then they climbed aboard and waved to Teeka, who watched as the reindeer rose up together and carried the sleigh off into the night. Merry Christmas!
Oh my gosh, they are so darling.
Reindeer, come on in. It's 1 more minute. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. It's okay now. It's okay, right there. So, thank you. I hope you enjoyed it. They worked really hard on this. So, it was amazing. So, what's going to happen? Boys and girls, remember? Just a minute. We're going to go out around the white table. And then you can come out and stand by your child. We're going to say a couple things. We're going to do light the candle. And then we have 3 songs. And then we eat. Yes?
Yes.
All right, boys and girls, go out around the table.
Aren't they all so darling? Just so darling.
I know. She volunteered. All right, when you're ready,
sure she
come out
did.
table.
Yeah. I think she has like this